My name is Anthony Woodard, and this is Introduction to Marriage and Family Therapy. Experiential family therapy is a therapy that grew out of the humanistic existential philosophy movement of the 1960s. The concepts such as encounter, process, growth, spontaneity, and actions are emphasized. The main goal of this approach is for the client or family to get in touch with their emotions as it relates to behavior. It's an emotion-focused approach to therapy. It's a good question. Experiential family therapy, which has a number of forms, emphasize affect, that is, emotions. Awareness and expression of feelings are considered the means for both personal and family fulfillment. The underlying premise is that experiential approach is that individuals and families are not aware of their emotions, or they are not able to express them. And so they have suppressed these emotions, and so the idea is we can get them to understand their emotions and express them, which I think is kind of different from the other approaches out there, and that's what drew me to it. I'm an emotional person myself. Being a minister, I've always been drawn to emotions, and I feel that they're very important. And I've always been sensitive to other people's emotions, even as a young boy. And so when I found an approach to family therapy that focused on emotions, I knew that was right up my alley. In the past, I've done counseling, and I've always felt it was, very important for a person to be able to express their emotions. And I always thought it was important for the counselor to create a safe place for that family or that client to express their emotions. I would always use the term for my clients, I want you to feel comfortable that you can say it like you feel it. I want you to say things the way you feel it. I want you to be able to express your emotions without any judgment. I think the first one is the I message, which I think is the most important, where your goal as the counselor is to connect with each family member. And so you'll use statements like, if I'm talking to a young lady, I might say, Amy, I hear that you're upset with your brother because of the statement that he made. Or, a mother, you might say, Ann, I understand your frustration with the family right now because you feel like, all the weight has been put on you. And so you use those I statements, that I message, to try to connect with the family. And I think it's very important that you do that with people in the family that you perceive to have power, and those who are angry. Ones that are power because they have influence over the family. It may be a father who maybe doesn't even want to be in counseling. And so it's important for you to connect with that person immediately and say something like to the dad, hey, sir, I see that you may be frustrated with being here today, but I thank you for coming because I realize this is going to help you and your family. You want to get that person to buy in to the idea of family therapy. The next one I really like is called sculpting. In sculpting, you actually give the family an opportunity to move around the room. And so, for example, I might say to the son, are you familiar with sculpting? And he would say yes. And I says, in sculpting, you get to, shape things. And I says, I want you to pretend that your family is the clay, and you're going to shape them. And what I mean by that, I want you to position them in this room the way you see your family right now. Clay doesn't move once you put it in a position. So I want you to put the family in a position the way you see them in the room. And so He may shape, put the mom facing, the son, or the mother facing the daughter. In some cases, I've seen where a family of 4, where they actually, the son took the father and put him by the door and had the door halfway open. And the father was standing in at 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out of the door. And it was kind of symbolizing it. The father's sometimes here and sometimes he isn't. And then the sister who seemed to be having some issues, he turned her, and her back was to the rest of the family, as if she didn't even want to be involved. So sculpting is a very good tool. Another tool I like to use is called the circle, the family circle. And that's where you get each family member a piece of paper, and you tell them to draw a circle. And the idea behind that is you want them to put that family, you can say to them, the instruction will be, I want you to put your family on this piece of paper. They can be in the circle, they can be out of the circle, they can be big, they can be small. However you want to put them on this paper, I want you to do that. And each family member has a piece of paper. What's unique about that is the idea is what you want to look for is who they include on this paper and who they don't include. For example, they may put the immediate family, but maybe not, the grandfather, or maybe not, if a family is, say, separated, the husband and wife are separated, the husband may not be on the picture at all, or maybe he be outside of the circle. Some members may be close to others, some may be in the circle but a distance away. And so you ask them about how they view the family and why did they put them on the circle that way. So those are a few approaches that I use. Yes, I can think of a couple that came in to see me. I was married about 4 years, and obviously they were having some challenges in their relationship. And the way they was describing it to me, this is the wife talking, that sometimes the husband would just stop talking to her. He would come across like he was upset and would just kind of shut down. He would come home from work and would go watch TV or go play his video game or something. And when she would inquire, what's going on, clearly she could see he was being bothered by something. But he would never say anything. I'm fine, everything is okay. And so this may go on for a day or so, and then he would just come back to her out of the blue and just stop talking to her like nothing had happened. And so obviously you can see this would create some frustration for them, and especially for her. And she found herself walking on eggshells because she didn't know what to say. She felt like if I say the wrong thing, then he's going to stop talking to me for a day. And as I began to explore with this gentleman about what was going on, and kind of ask him about his upbringing a little bit, and where he was raised at. He was an Army brat. His father was in the military, and he, as I discovered, he had always been kind of taught that the man is supposed to suck it up. He's supposed to be strong, and he's not supposed to express his emotions. He can have them, but he's supposed to tuck them in. It's supposed to be this mindset of, okay, you got them, but you know what? Men, big boys don't cry, And he actually kind of shared with me a story of when he was small and he has a younger sister, and they were outside playing, and they both kind of fell and skinned their knee. And he remembered his sister going to his father, and his father was like, oh honey, let me kiss your boo-boo, and he kissed the knee, and she sat on his lap, and then he walked over there shortly after her, and his response was, he just kind of wiped it off, said, oh, suck it up, you'll be all right, And he was like, what's going on here? I mean, so those kind of messages were always in him. And so I began to talk to him about his feelings and let him know that, it's important for you to express your feelings. And of course, I use that I statement of, I understand where you're coming from. I can identify with that. But I started to talk to him about his emotions and how important it is, and that you can still be a man and express your emotions. And through the end of that session, I was able to kind of get him to talk to his wife, and I kind of stepped back. And that's another technique where you kind of ask the couple to talk to each other as if you're not in the room. And they were able to kind of start talking, and he could kind of share some of his emotions with her. And one of the things that he said that was really powerful is that, I do feel hurt sometimes when you say stuff to me, and you do hurt my feelings, but I just never knew how to express that. I've never said to somebody, you've hurt my feelings. And so he was able to do that for the first time in that session. And so I think that was very beneficial.